Alright, folks, we went down briefly. This is part 2 of episode 10 of Rant Radio, focusing on Bradley Manning, Freedom of Information Act, and why this is a war on the freedom of our information. I was just talking about Tim DeChristopher, who got charged with 2 felonies for starting an uproar at an auction when he bought 22 acres of land that the government was selling off that was for oil and gas drilling rights. So I was just about to tell you that it was one of the interesting things when Obama took office. Within weeks of his presidency taking effect, he canceled the leases of 136 acres of land around 2 national parks, and this land included the ones that Tim bid on. So what's the issue? Well, he was sentenced on July 2011 to 2 years in prison. He was fined $10,000, and now he is on lockdown as of October of 2012 in a halfway house in Salt Lake City, finishing out his sentence. Goodbye, Tim. Number 5, John Kuriaku, age 48. This is one of the most high-profile cases of somebody either being a whistleblower or being basically politically imprisoned. He's a former CIA agent. He led a team of agents that found Al-Qaeda operative Abu Zubaydah. I suck at these names, guys. I apologize. In 2002. So he quit the CIA, and this guy was a source for journalists, specifically whenever they were covering national security. He had a lot of information about that at the time. And he emailed the name of a covert CIA officer to a journalist. But this name was never published. All he did was email it. However, he's been persecuted for leaking info to the media, even though this was never published. He did expose the waterboarding torture in 2007 to ABC. So he has been a target because of that, because he is continuously trying to expose these crimes and feels, just like everybody else feels, just like the Bradleys, the Jeremy Hammonds, that this information has a right to be out there. We have a right to it. It deserves to be out there in the public domain. So he pleaded guilty last year. He's sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. And funny thing, no one that has been involved in the waterboarding torture has ever gone to prison. None of the CIA officers that he was trying to expose have gone to jail for their crimes. It seems to be that because whistleblowing has practically become an illegal act, that is the way that they get around actually, prosecuting the criminals. Because it was illegal for you to say that they committed the crime, it seems to be okay to not prosecute them for that crime. And that is the biggest irony of it all. As a former CIA officer told the New York Times in January, the irony of this whole thing is very simply that he's going to be the only CIA officer to go to jail over torture. There you have it, folks. And number 6, Eric McDavid, age 35. He was arrested with 2 others in January 2006, charged with conspiracy over plans to bomb locations in California. So in the early 2000s, there was this thing happening called the Green Scare. Very similar to the Red Scare, where everybody was afraid everybody was a communist. Well, the Green Scare refers to the assault on the environmentalist movement. Organizations such as Earth Liberation Front have often been referred to as environmentalist extremists, environmental radicals. They're just trying to demonize the people who are trying to save Mother Earth. It's lovely. So during this Green Scare, the FBI was using really controversial tactics to try to target some of these environmentalists, Eric McDavid being one of them. So basically what happened is he was sentenced to 20 years in prison, and after the other 2 ratted him out. The other 2 were given lesser sentences if they cooperated with the feds, so they did. So he went to jail for the 3 of them. They got lesser charges. They did plead guilty, but they provided information that was able to put Eric McDavid away for a much longer amount of time in May 2008. So there you have it. There are 6 examples of political prisoners being given very harsh sentences And people who have been targeted by the FBI extensively, people who never killed anyone, raped anyone, stole from anyone, never bombed a building, threw a Molotov cocktail, never damaged a single piece of private or public property. All they did was share a link, or bid on an auction, or simply be who they were, anonymous. But that's enough. That's enough for us these days, because the assault on freedom of information is not just to try to act like they are upholding the law. It's an assault on the law itself. The institution will never be able to be its own watchdog. The watchdogs are the political prisoners who dared to expose the truth, who dared to give the public what they deserve, the right to know. And to conclude this show, I'm going to offer a few solutions, because all of this does seem pretty grim. And for any of us journalists, it's a terrifying notion to think that it doesn't matter what we say or where we get it from. Chances are the feds are watching and waiting to take us away. Freedom of information does not exist so long as you allow these laws to go unchecked and untested. And that's what it comes down to. So solution number one, my advice is to continue to be brave. Become a member of FOWL, which is Friends of WikiLeaks. I just signed up for their site finally this week, and it's a great network. Every week you'll be added onto a list. You'll get a new friend somewhere in the world, somebody who is Friends of WikiLeaks, and it's a way that you can network and disperse information, get news, all sorts of things. So if you haven't already, definitely go up on wikileaks.org and sign up with FOWL. So that's first. And then number two, continue the education process. Keep educating yourself, spread what you know, and refuse to be silent. Start up a conversation about this stuff. Let's keep it out there. The advertisers are really good at what they do is because they never let up. They keep bombarding you. They keep it right there in the forefront of your mind. And that's what we have to do with our words and our opinions, because we're fighting a behemoth here. So get it out there. Demand transparency. If you start adopting it in your own life, and you won't allow it anywhere else either. So definitely, be honest with yourself when you're looking for news. Always be objective, but be careful of bad sources. Learn your history. Be a healthy debater. The most important thing that we could do is be educated enough to debate with any person on the street, to be able to have a healthy conversation. It's not about having an argument. It's about having good information, good facts, so that you can speak calmly and eloquently and articulately and get your point across. You just might change some minds. And write letters to those in jail. Send them your love. The most important thing we can do is make them feel like they're not alone and what they went to jail for is not in vain. So if you can, write letters, send little poems, send pictures of sunshine. I don't know. Find something creative. And if you see something, say something. The time is now to raise consciousness. And this means daring to speak out against corruption. Write a blog, make a YouTube video, keep the names and themes in people's minds. And dare to be anonymous. And always question authority. You alone are your own authority, and that is the only voice that you have to answer to. So don't forget that. So as far as next week's show, I've got a few options here, and I'd like you guys to help me out picking the next show. So please don't forget, if you need to check out our Twitter, this is how you are going to do it. If you're not up on our Twitter, you can send either an email or a Facebook message, but I'm sure most of you are on Twitter. So definitely, it's at JAK_NLAUREN on Twitter. That is JNL. So next week's show, what should we do? Choice A, the monetary system versus a resource-based economy. A rant in support of the Venus Project. So this Rant Radio episode will be focusing on the Venus Project, what it is and who the founder of it is, and about the 3 movies that are also all kind of revolving around this amazing project. And also figuring out why the monetary system just has got to go. Why we need to get past the political parties and even the bankers themselves and understand that the moneymakers are way, way up top. And that nothing is going to change until we get off the monetary system. Choice B could focus on Bahrain. There's been a lot of headlines about Bahrain lately, and I'm really interested in doing a little bit of work into this. Basically, activists are having to go into hiding in Bahrain, but they're not wearing a V mask because the V mask has been banned in Bahrain. And not only has the V mask been banned from being worn or seen anywhere in the country, they have an embargo on the importation of the masks into the country itself. That's pretty interesting and pretty big. So if you guys want choice B for Bahrain, let me know. Or number C, a day of just international news headlines. We'll be covering the freshest headlines in the world, Rant Radio style. So again, A is about the Venus Project. B is about Bahrain and why they banned V masks. Or letter C, how about that? A day of international news headlines. We'll try to cover everything that's going on in the world and give you a little bit of a recap about everything else. And, so definitely tweet your choice to us, either A, B, or C. Let us know which show you prefer. Whoever gets the most tweets, that's the show that we're going to pick. So go at it, guys. And thank you once again for watching. Please put this out and continue to tweet us out, support us, and tell everybody you know about what's happening. Let them know. If they don't know who Private Manning is, a.k.a. Brianna, then they're just not paying attention. So let's make sure that we're reaching out to others who may not know. The best places that I've found are grocery stores, the lines waiting for gas at the gas station, wherever. But don't forget to reach out to people. Everybody's hurting, and everybody feels alone, and everybody's afraid. Let's keep that conversation wide open and let the information flow on through. Thanks, guys, again for watching. We love you so much. And who knows where we will be reporting from next week. We are going to be swinging through New York this week aboard our gorgeous little veggie-fueled wonder. So definitely stick around and stay tuned. Check out our blog also at occupybus tour.wordpress.com to see our latest thoughts. And, we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much.